Talking Racing in the Finger Lakes. An action-packed half-hour look at local race highlights, cars, and drivers in your area. Buckle your seatbelt, rev your engine, and be there.
Let's go to Apple Valley Raceway Friday night for NASCAR Winston Racing Series action. Street stock action, first on the track. Duke Walensky and Bill Gleason Sr. lead off the parade, and Duke Walensky is going to take the early lead. But it will be short-lived as Todd Stanton in the Dale Earnhardt look-alike number 3 will grab the lead a couple of laps later. Tony Salem Jr., the current points leader down at Apple Valley Raceway, follows him right behind, and fairly soon he's going to be challenging Todd Stanton for that number 1 spot as they come off 3 and 4. Tony Salem Jr. to the high side, Todd Stanton to the low side, a little contact made, and Tony Salem Jr. is going to drive around Todd Stanton for the number 1 spot. Mike Montgomery in the 04 is close behind, waiting for a mistake by these two leaders. Little action back in the pack. For positions 4, 5, and 6, Kevin Amazing Grace and Buzz Raycroft come together. Kevin Grace spins, takes out one of the pylons, and continues onward. Buzz Raycroft will also continue the event. You see Kevin Grace moving back up through the pack, and Bill Gleason Sr. gets a little sideways. And Jim Steffenhagen in the 31 and Rich Ficarra come together. Jim Steffenhagen goes completely around, and he'll continue. Meanwhile, back up front, Tony Salem Jr. in the 98 being challenged by the 04 of Mike Montgomery coming off of 4. Mike gets a little high, makes contact with the front stretch wall, comes back down into the 3rd place runner, Rob Whyte, last week's feature winner. These two are going to fight for the 2nd position for the next couple of laps, and as they come down to the checkers, Tony Salem Jr. well out in front, he's going to take the flag, and Rob White's going to get a wheel underneath Mike Montgomery for that 2nd position. The end of the event, Tony Salem Jr. and Mike Montgomery do a Polish victory lap for a fallen comrade, Jim Randall, who was killed in a tragic traffic accident on August 12th. Jim was a crew member of Sean O'Neill and will be deeply missed at Apple Valley Raceway on Friday nights.
That one's for Jim Randall, everyone.
An emotional scene in Victory Lane as Salem presented Randall's wife, Lisa, with a trophy in his memory. Tony with the win over Rob White, Mike Montgomery, Todd Stanton, and Duke Walensky.
We'll get our feature winner out. He's getting some hugs. Plus fireworks.
Apple Valley's own open-wheel division, the Grand American Modifieds, hits the pavement next. John DeMink in the number 1 is going to grab the lead from that pole position, and he's going to hold it for the first part of the event. Right behind him, you see Bill Woods in the 51, current points leader at Apple Valley Raceway. Get around a few of the cars, including Matt Bones Lee's, and he's going to drive into the 2nd position. John Burrows, right back there in the number 4, is going to follow him right up through. You see them go 3 wide here, battling for the lead. John DeMink in the number 1, Bill Woods in the 51, and John Burrows in the number 4. Bill Woods is going to grab that position, and John Burrows is going to follow him right behind, getting to the low side of John DeMink in the number 1. And then a little later on in the event, Jeff Hammond in the number 7 gets spun sideways in front of the pack, and you see Ricky Woods going off 3 and 4. Jeff Hammond's going to continue in the event. In fact, he'll have a top 5 finish here at the end of the event. Back to racing action. Bill Woods being pressured constantly by John Burrows in the number 4. But it's to no avail as Bill Woods pulls in for the checkered flag with John Burrows right behind him. John DeMink ends up 3rd, Terry Cheatham in 4th, and Jeff Hammond gets up there for 5th. Mike McDermott and Billy the Kid Whitaker and the 09 pace the field of late models as they come out to take their feature event. Mike McDermott's going to grab the early lead, but that will be short-lived, as on the following lap, Billy the Kid Whitaker will get around the high side of Mike McDermott, and he will grab the lead. Little action back in the pack. Tom Slattery in the 19, Jason McDougal and the double zero come together. Racing Dan Mason is also there along the side. But look what happens to Jason McDougal. He's got a tire that went down, and right now he's riding on the rim. Jason's going to continue the event and going to have another great run out there. Last week's feature winners, remember they ran twin 25s last week. Dan Kuhnman and Buck Catalano in the 54 battle for a position. Right behind them, Dan Mason and Dave Seils are also battling. Buck Catalano alongside racing Dan Mason. Dave Seils right behind him, and Tom Keys in the number 5. Here's the battle for the lead as Dan the Man Kuhnman has made his way up through to the front of the pack. He gets down to the low side of the 09 of Billy Whitaker, and he's going to grab the advantage. Right behind them, in the 3rd and 4th position, Dave Seils and Tommy Richards in the number 8 are going to battle for the position. Dave's going to go underneath Tommy, and he's going to have the 3rd spot. Tough break for Billy the Kid Whitaker. Great run on this evening, but mechanical woes put him to the pit side. Too bad for Billy. Good run for him this evening at Apple Valley Raceway. Back to the racing action. Tom Keys spins in front of the pack. Buck Catalano and Howie Ellinwood also come together, trying to avoid any mishap out there. Back up front, once the racing resumes, Dan the Man Kuhnman under constant pressure by Dave Seils, but Dan's going to hold on for another victory. Dan currently in the top 5 in the regional points for Winston Racing Series, adds to that lead over Dave Seils, Tom Richards, Dan Mason, and Jason McDougal.
And we're so glad you joined us. We hope you...
the job done here tonight.
Well, let's see what happens.
Super stock action. Double points on this evening now to Apple Valley Raceway. Tom Hill in the 63 and the bullhead, Tommy Stevenson, lead the parade off with Tom Hill grabbing the early advantage. Up front, though, Steve Ross is going to make his way around Tom Hill, and he's going to be the new leader. Right behind him, you see Jim Lefroy also come up and get around Tom Hill. And the flamethrower, Bill Hebing in the 45, looks to get around the high side of Tom Hill as well. Battle for the lead. Bill Hebing in the 45 gets to the high side of Steve Ross in the 98 as they come down the backstretch. Bill Hebing gets to the outside, and he gets out front. But don't count out Hollywood Howie Ellinwood. Howie's been on a hot streak down there at Apple Valley Raceway. As he gets underneath Steve Ross in the 98, Howie's going to take 2nd place away from Steve Ross. Right behind them, Roger Sturries grabs the position away from Jim Lefroy in the number 4. And where's Joe Brainerd, current points leader down at Apple Valley? Well, he had his troubles, and he had to drive the number 99 on this evening. Tough break for Joey as he was looking to take home the double points win. Back up front, Hollywood Howie Ellinwood trying everything he could to get around Bill Hebing in the 45 as they come down to 3 and 4 for the final 2 corners. Hollywood's going to try the low side. He gives Bill a little tap, but Bill Hebing in the flamethrower, number 45, is going to hold on for the victory. Congratulations, Bill, on your big win. See the two of them come together up on turn 1 after the checkers, but Bill is the winner over Howie Ellinwood, Roger Sturries, Steve Ross, and Jim Lefroy.
Right there, all county construction right on the hood of that car.
Yeah, I tell you.
Friday night up at Paradise Speedway. Well, I had the opportunity to spend my heat races doing something a little different. Usually I'm on top of the press box filming, but tonight I got to ride in the LeBrun's Motors Pontiac pace car. Thanks to Bob Goebel, the pace car driver up at Paradise Speedway. Got to see the crowd from a completely different view. Get to see the cars from a completely different view, that's for sure. Here we are with the Sportsman heat just about ready to begin. Going down the front straight, it's a strange feeling, let me tell you. But you also get to see some of the other things, like the big crashes. This happened in the heat race for the youth pure stocks. Oh boy. Well, then it was on top of the press tower again, and the racing action begins for the straight stocks. We see Lance Laufenberger jump out to an early start, followed by Randy Peters. Also up there, the B-52 of points leader Keith Butler, the 5X of Charlie Guerreri, and the 113 of Frank Guerreri, all jockeying for position. Here Guerreri and Guerreri go 3 wide down the backstretch. Frank Guerreri gets the best of it, gets out front. Also, you'll see Bobby Lutz on his way up behind Peters there. He will become a factor later on. A rare mistake by Steve Pesarek. He gets up on the berm, takes out Charlie Guerreri. He keeps going. Charlie's stopped. He's going to go into the pits, but will return. And here's Frank Guerreri jumping out to a lead. There's Pesarek moving his way up behind Laufenberger, sitting in third spot. Randy Peters gets a wild shot up over the berm, spinning out Timmy Hare. Tim would continue and finish respectably. Here's the D7 of Bobby Lutz. He's had a fast car these last few weeks, but hasn't been able to make it stick. He's going to get right up behind the leader, Frank Guerreri. And then just a couple of laps later, he's going to take him on the outside. It's not going to be easy. Frank's got a tough, fast car, but then he'll grab the lead in the back stretch. Nobody would really have anything for Lutz on this night. Again, all for naught, though, because he would be disqualified with an illegal carburetor. Coming home with a win, Frank Guerreri. Second, Charlie Guerreri. Ron Lawson would come home third, Mike Cooper fourth, and Timmy Hare comes home fifth. Then it's time for the Pure Stock division up at Paradise. A big field of cars, as it has been for the last few weeks. You see last week's disqualified winner there, Ralph Champion. Well, he's back. He's got a new motor, and he's on the move. You also see Chuck Stottinger back after a couple of weeks with a new car. Also, the 11 car of Dan Metler, who's an up-and-coming runner in this division. You also see that Ralph Champion's fast still. Here we see Frank Burnell almost get over on his roof. It's just the tail end of the shot, but he got right up and sideways, but came down on all fours and continued. Ralph Champion takes a checkered flag tonight, and it sticks. He comes away with a win over Dan Metler, who comes home second. Gene Dillon, the points leader, third. Van Grant fourth, and Don Shattuck fifth. And it's time for the four-cylinder modified feature. A growing field that has had more cars every week as time goes on. One of the hot runners in this division the last couple of weeks, right there, the 15 car of Scott Knowldon, last week's winner. The man on the move here, though, is Tom Metler in that 69 vehicle. He'd go along, but then, just a little bit of a problem is him and Grandpa Bruce Detro get up over the berm. He would continue on the restart. That's it. Scott Knowldon jumps out over Don Knapp. The 8-time winner has not been able to pull a win out of his hat in 2 months. Knowldon starts running away. That's the way that it would basically continue because nobody could catch him. Scott Knowldon comes home with the win. Don Knapp second, Nick Rizzo third, Tom Metler fourth, and Dale Lagasse fifth. Then it's time for the main event of the evening, the Sportsman. Coming down to take the green flag. We see the 56 of Vince Vitale get up to an early lead. Bobby Payne is also there in fourth place, and Chuck Bauer starting at the back. This man, as I've said before, is on a mission, and he's hot. He's won the last 3 races, and nothing seems to stop him. Cool move there by Dale Darling in the 714. Dale was having one of his best runs ever, was up to second here, was getting heavy pressure from Vitale. Every time they'd go into a quarter, Vince would get under him and bang him around a little. Bobby Payne had trouble this night. 2 flat tires sent him to the pits, but he would always stay on the lead lap and continue. Dale was able to hold on to second place until this incident with Vitale sent him into the berm, broke his axle. He was basically done for the night. As I said, Chuck Bauer's the man on the mission, and here you see him moving up past Jim Spano. He's going to take the lead, and he's not going to relinquish it. Pure and simple, 4 in a row for Chuck Bauer. Jim Spano second, Bobby Payne third, Vince Vitale fourth, and Patrick Golly comes home fifth.
Canandaigua Speedway Saturday night, the land of legends. Would Steve Pesarek pick up feature win number 11? Well, things look doubtful in this heat race. As you see Steve come together with a couple of cars, including Foster Hughes. Steve's gonna roll a little slowly down here after this little tangle, but he'll be back out for the feature go. Steve's a master. If anybody can do it, he sure can do it. Let's get right to the feature action. Larry Reynolds in the 32J and Rick Florak in the 23 pace the field. Larry Reynolds is going to take the lead, and he's looking for his first win of the 95 season. Racing action back in the pack. Scott Freemow driving Betty Chevrolet does a 360, and he's going to continue on. Everybody behind him misses him. Great job of driving by everybody involved. Scott will continue, and he's going to have another good run down at Canandaigua. And as we mentioned beforehand, Steve Pesarek in the Phelps Cement Juliana Auto Parts number 30 is always a force to be reckoned with as he battles with Turbo Tanya for the second position. Coming down the backstretch, Steve Pesarek is going to grab that spot, and then he's going to start challenging Larry Reynolds in the 32J for the lead. As they come down the front stretch, Steve, already with 10 feature wins down at Canandaigua Speedway, is looking to add number 11 to the list and also add for the points lead down there. He more or less has that track title locked up. Larry Reynolds and Steve Pesarek have the crowd on their feet. Finally, on lap 12, coming down the backstretch, Steve Pesarek is going to grab the top spot, and he looks to be on his way to another victory. Billy Brown, currently running second in points down there, has a little bit of a problem as he has a tie rod break. Tough break for Billy. It's going to be awful tough to close in on Steve Pesarek with nights like this. Steve Pesarek in the Phelps Cement Juliana Auto Parts number 30 will drive in for feature victory number 11 on the season. Steve picks up the win over Larry Reynolds, Tanya Hans, Foster Hughes, and Rick Miller. Let's move on to the Sportsman action. Before one lap could even be completed, Jim Flint and a Too Cool car, Dale Darling in the 714 and Howie Albrecht come together up on turn 1. So let's go to another restart. Try to complete at least one lap here. Carl Comfort and Scott Ridley lead off the parade. Carl Comfort's going to be your early leader. Action a little further back in the pack to the second, third, fourth position. J.J. Coville gets down underneath Scott Ridley. Scott's going to have a rough go of it here as it gets a little high, gets a little loose. And Rob Mack, having a great run, takes the third position away from them. Jerry Harris, feature winner here a few weeks ago, looks to be battling with Kevin Long, Vic Coffey, Todd Burley, who's coming up through the pack, and all of a sudden, Jerry Harris is going to go into the backstretch wall. Tough break for Jer Bear, as he was looking very strong on this evening again down there. Battle for the second position. Vic Coffey going to the low side of J.J. Coville, and he looks like he's going to claim that position. But Todd Burley comes up to the high side. Todd currently leads the points down at Canandaigua Speedway, wants to increase his points lead. He finally does get around Vic Coffey, gets around J.J. Coville as well, but watch what happens. As Vic Coffey, J.J. Coville come together, Todd Henderson comes into the rear end of J.J. Coville, and it's going to knock J.J. out of the event. Back to the racing action. Todd Burley, who had moved his way up to the second position, goes to the high side off of 4 and grabs the lead from Carl Comfort. And that's all she wrote, as Todd Burley will come in and grab the checkers on this evening down at Canandaigua Speedway in the Sportsman division. Todd Burley with a big win over Carl Comfort, Vic Coffey, Kevin Long, and Jim Flint. Eldon Jensen and Greg Tatich lead the parade of big block dirt modifieds for their 35-lap feature go. Greg Tatich is going to grab the early advantage, but he's going to be closely pursued here by Scotty Schrader in a brand new 95 Bicknell chassis. Coming down to complete the second lap, Teddy Bauer is going to grab the lead in the Tom and Kim Ewing number 34. Ted's had a few good runs down here at Canandaigua Speedway, and he looks like he wants to be in victory circle at the end of this night. Racing action in the back of the pack. 3 wide in 1 and 2. A.J. Romano, one-time feature winner. Charlie Donk in the 99, and John Moravec put on a show for the folks. They're right behind the 58 of Scotty Schrader. But coming up through the pack, the master of going faster, barefoot Bob McCready, the number 9. We also see last week's feature winner and Canandaigua's all-time feature event winner, Alan Johnson in the 12T, as they battle for the position. They will be a factor before this night's event is done, and before long, they reel in the 25-year-old Ted Bauer and look to challenge him for that lead. Alan in the thumb car and barefoot Bob McCready in the number 9. Alan, of course, you remember, picked up his first ever career feature win in a Tommy Kim Ewing number 14 Corvair body modified. Let's see if another youngster can pick up a win in Tommy Kim Ewing's car. As they come down for the final lap off the final turn, A.J. Slideways looks to the low side, but Teddy Bauer is going to hold on for his first ever career modified feature event. Double congratulations were in order for Ted Bauer as his wife Stacy gave birth to the couple's first child, Timothy Daniel, a few days earlier. So congratulations to Teddy Bauer and his wife Stacy, especially for his first victory down at Canandaigua Speedway. Also another first for Tommy Kim Ewing as they stand by their young driver down at Canandaigua Speedway. Ted the winner over Alan Johnson, Bob McCready, Joe Plazik, and Brian Turner.
Tommy Kim Ewing now getting in the
Sunday night, it's out for a special show at the Big High Banks at the Cayuga County Fair Speedway. The Sportsman Division action first. Here we see the number 1X of Patrick Golly, a regular over at Paradise on Friday nights. He's moving right up. Looks like he's going to be able to take the lead, but boom, this tangle is going to send him flying. It's going to tear his wheel right off. He will be backwards. He'll go back in the pits, get a new tire, but he's not going to have a great run for the rest of the night. Here we see the 10 of Carl Comfort going for the lead. As they come out of 1 and 2, he will take it. And then, of course, don't ever count out Chuck Bauer. Chuck Bauer won Friday night at Paradise. He's red hot right now on the Sportsman circuit. He would basically get around everybody. Here you see him getting around Carl Comfort. Once he gets out in front, it's really hard to catch Chuck Bauer. Oh, some problems. Vince Vitale, who finished 4th the other night at Paradise, spins. He will continue. With 2 laps to go, this is your lineup, basically. Chuck Bauer and Carl Comfort right up front. He's going to hold on for the next 2 and take the checkered flag. Chuck Bauer with a win, Carl Comfort 2nd, Vic Coffey 3rd, Jim Spano 4th, and Todd Kaplan comes home 5th. Next, it's the Mr. Dirt Street Stock Championship with Canandaigua regular Steve Pesarek on the pole. Steve had a really fast car this night. He's going to battle out for the lead with Tim Sears in the 21 car there. And as they come down into 1, a rare mistake by Steve. He gets a little squirrely loose, but he's able to punch it through the infield and rejoin the field. Just in time, too, because there was a big pileup on the front stretch. You see Lance Laufenberger there involved in that. Most of these cars sustained damage but continued. On the restart, keep your eye on this 221 car. Maybe a name you haven't heard before, but you're going to hear more about him. It's Rob Nowitzki. He's a regular up at Fonda. He's there behind Tim Sears. He's taking the 2nd spot, and now you're going to see Rob go around the 21 car of Sears, and he's going to take the lead. One of the prettiest street stock cars ever seen on the circuit. There's points leader Lan Hart going with 2nd place leader, the 150 of Mike Watkins, and Steve Pesarek, all 3 of them bunched together. Here's Watkins going right up. He's going to pass for 2nd place, and then Pesarek's going to move on up and get around Tim Sears' 3rd position. Remember, Steve had that little spin and started the back. Well, it didn't stop him because here he is getting around one of the toughest runners on the circuit, Mike Watkins, for the 2nd position. Real good run for both Steve and Mike this night. Les Whyte had himself a good run, a Canandaigua regular, sitting 3rd in points in Canandaigua. able to work his way up to 6th position on the evening. But it would be Rob Nowitzki, the runner from Fonda, who would take the checkered flag at Cayuga County for the Mr. Dirt Street Stock feature. Steve Pesarek 2nd, Mike Watkins 3rd, Tim Sears 4th, Brian Sage comes home 5th. Then it's time for the special feature. It's got Syracuse qualifier written all over it for the 358 modifieds. There were 3 spots up for grabs in the Syracuse 200-350 race. Right here you see Johnny Byrosh was the pole sitter, moves right up, but he gets a couple of people that get around him early. Big field of cars. Here's Pat Ward, who would become a factor later on. Well, this guy's been red hot over the last few weeks. You're going to see him move up. Another red hot person, Timmy Fuller. You're going to see Jimmy Phelps and Tim Fuller here battling for position. Both of them would have solid top 5 finishes. On this restart, we see that Pat Ward's worked his way up to the outside of the front row, and only 2 laps later, he's going to get around Tim Fuller for the lead of this 50-lap race at Cayuga County Fair Speedway. Also running real good this night, the 48 JR of Darrell Ruggles back after an extended lead with his brand new Troyer car. He finished 11th. Jimmy Phelps, we see there, battling with Canada Joe Plaza, as they are both going to post top 5 finishes on this night. But Pat Ward was the man. He's won a lot recently, and he won this race this night. Ward comes home first over Tim Fuller, Joe Plaza, Scott Prentice, and Jimmy Phelps is going to come home 5th.